Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. So today we're going to be discussing the better method of debounce. And if you don't know what debounce is, here let's open up a script in a server script service. Right here, let's get a script, increase my volume. Alright, so we have a script right here, and what we want is the better version of debounce. But first, if you don't know what debounce is, let's make a quick example. Let's say we make a touch script. So let's make a local function and then call this on touch. Then we'll have hit, and let's make the base plate. Let's make the base plate the one. So, the thing that we're gonna touch. So let's do local base plate equals workspace, and then let's wait for child base plate, because base plate might not be loaded in time, so we have to wait for it. And here, let's separate this, and now we're gonna check if it's hit. Base plate dot hit, dot touched, my bad. Base plate dot touched equals connect on touch. So every time base plate is touched, it's going to run this function. And inside of this function, we'd use a debounce, because this function would run multiple times. If someone's touching it, and we have this print right here, print touched, it will print multiple times. So let me test. And as you can see, it's running. Actually, it's not running too quick. I thought it would run way quicker than this, but it's running a lot. You know, you would want to wait. Let's say we want to wait 3 seconds, but if we go into our script and we do wait 3 seconds every time we want to print touch, let's put wait 3 seconds at the bottom, because that might be what you think about. Wait 3 seconds at the bottom, so it only prints out 3 seconds at a time. Now when we run the script, it's still doing the same thing. You could see that. It's still printing dot touched, and it's not waiting 3 seconds. So that's where debounce comes in. And here, let's make a debounce. So local debounce would equal false. Okay. And we would use debounce as a way to indicate that it would be true, or it would be like the opposite, if that makes sense. So it does not continue. It's almost like to make sure that another thing is not running at the same time. So here, here, let me just write it. So if debounce, then return end. So this means that if debounce is true, so here, let's just make this equals true, which is like the same thing as if debounce by itself. So if debounce is true, then return end, and that means that it will return when this thing is called. So if debounce is true, then return the script and don't continue. And so let's make debounce true right under it, because debounce is not true yet. Now we're setting debounce to true. Now we want to wait 3 seconds and reactivate the script, because if we leave it like this, it's gonna only run one time and never run again. So we're gonna wait 3 seconds, and then we're gonna do debounce equals false. Okay. So let's run this and let's see how much it prints. So we were walking around, and every 3 seconds is gonna print touched. So that's how debounce works. But the thing about touch, you have to keep on moving for it to work. So if we're not moving, no hands are moving, nothing holding my mouse or holding my movement, that's why it's not gonna work. Unless if you move, then it's gonna be running. That's how touch works. So that's something bad about touch. So that's why we would use get touching parts. But that's more sophisticated, so but yeah. Now actually we have to get to the point of the video. The better version of debounce. So debounce can always work, you know. Debounce just the classic way, false equals true. But let's say we have a while wait loop, okay? So while wait do, and let's say we want to check every 3 seconds. So let's say we want to check every 3 seconds the humanoid's HP, okay, to check if it's below 50, so the walk speed increases. So every 3 seconds we want to check if the, actually no, we could just use humanoid.health changed, but what else could we use check every 3 seconds for? Let's just pretend we want to change the part every 3 seconds, or the base plate. So let's redefine local base plate equals workspace with child base plate. So let's say every 3 seconds we want to change base plate's color, and let's do it randomly. So brick color dot random. And below that script, we do not want to yield this part, because if we add a wait 3 here, we're basically yielding everything below it, and that's going to slow down the script by 3 seconds. So this is why if we had a debounce, so if base, let's say base plate dot color equals here, let's make a local variable, local random brick color equals brick color dot random. Okay, this might be confusing, but we're checking if base color equals random brick color. Okay, then so let's pretend that we want to check if the random brick color is the same. So we make it into a variable, so the random brick color stays the same when we identify the random thing. But when we run it again, and this script identifies itself again, so it goes from top and then to bottom and then back to top, then this runs again, then it's going to get a new random color because it's re-identifying the local random brick. But we only want to make a random brick once. So we're going to check if base plate.color equals random brick color, well, does not equal, so we don't want to equal the same color again. Then we want to do base plate, oh, we got to do brick color, my bad, brick color, base plate dot brick color equals random brick color. Okay, so this means, and then we also want to wait every 3 seconds. Okay, And over here, let's say we do not want to yield this part, because let's say we want to print I have big brain, okay? We want to keep printing this out, and we don't want to yield the script, okay? So we want to print this out like very fast, but we also we have to make this. We have to run this thing, check every 3 seconds to change the base plate's color, so we can use the same while loop, so we don't have to rerun the while loop. We want to check the thing every 3 seconds, and we do not want to yield this thing in the same while loop. So the thing we would use is something called local os.time. Actually, let's write it. Well, we'd use this os clock. My bad. Os clock. This is gonna basically give us the clock of the entire time since 1970. Okay, I think it even tells you too when you type it in. Local clock. It returns the amount of CPU time used by Lua in seconds. Oh wait, no, this is the wrong one. Maybe it's local. Okay, it's time, my bad. os.time. So os.time is what we would use. Okay, so we're gonna print out. Let's print this out. Print os.time. Okay, because we want to see the current time right now. So let's run the game so we can see what it is. We have this. Oh, and it changes it. Okay, and when it's printing I have big brain, but it's waiting every 3 seconds. We don't want to wait 3 seconds. I forgot what we just did this. But we could print os time. Look at this big number. But let's say we want to print os time every second. So let's make a separate while loop, okay? So while wait 1 do, and then we're gonna move this down. But if this is the case, we have another while loop on top. This one's not gonna run because only one while loop in one thread. So this is only gonna run. This is not. So the base plate's not gonna change color. But we can see the os time by doing this. And as you can see, it's counting up. Every second is counting up. So it's basically a timer counting up since 1970. Constantly counting up every single time. So how is this useful? Why is os time gonna help us when making the better version of Debounce? Well, in this scenario. Okay. So we want to check every 3 seconds, and usually this is what people would do. They would make a debounce, local debounce equals false. Then it was check and not debounce, okay? So that means we want it to be false and not debounce. Then change the brick color. Change brick color. Okay. And we also are checking if the brick color is not the same, just to make sure that it's not the same brick color. And they'll use a wait 3, but the wait 3 we don't want to yield this. We don't want to yield this part. So they'll do delay 3 seconds. They'll use the delay function. Now the delay creates a new thread, so it's more efficient. And we'd want to make debounce equal false. But we also want to make debounce true after this one. So debounce equals true. Okay. So the debounce turns true, then this thread's gonna deny every single time. And then it's gonna delay it's gonna change the brick color first, and then it's gonna delay 3 seconds in a new thread. And then debounce is gonna equal false. Okay, but it specifically, the problem with this is that delay is just not reliable at all. Well, there's like standards of it. So if your game is running with a lot of players, this delay could break, or this delay could take too long because it relies on wait, and usually wait can sometimes yield more longer if your game is lagging. So that is why wait is not the best, and it depends on how high your game is, or how much lag there is in your game as well. So it could yield a couple more milliseconds. And delay sometimes would break because of this. Delay would go way over 3 seconds. It could go for 6 seconds. It can go for 15 seconds. So it's strictly like forbidden to use delay. So but this would still work because it's not lagging at all. So let's print this out, and it's gonna say I have big brain multiple times. So you can see I have big brain very quickly, every second, or every 0.3 seconds, because that's what a wait is. And it's changing the brick color every 3 seconds. Changing it if it gets a different color. So you can see the brick color is changing. It's printing I have big brain multiple times, and that means it works, right? But it won't work for a long time. So this is where os.time comes in, okay? So in this scenario, we wouldn't use debounce, we would use os.time to indicate if it's been 3 seconds. And how we would do this is first define local os.time. So we'll do local clock, that's what I'd use, equals os.time. So this basically gets the time. Actually, let's define this as local time, because this is basically going to get the time at this current point. So when it identifies it, it gets the current time, but the time is constantly counting up. As you can remember, it's constantly counting up. So now we're going to make an and. We're going to say and if os.time. So we're getting a new time, okay? Because this time is old since we just identified it. It could be 3 seconds old by now, but it's not because there's no yield or any of that. So os time minus time is greater than or equal to 3 seconds, okay? Then run the script. So this is basically saying if the time minus the last time, here let's call this last time because this is a bit confusing, is greater than or equal to 3, then run this. And os.time is constantly counting up, okay? It's doing 1608, 1609, 1700. I don't know what the frick I said. It's all good. But we get os.time and we get the last time that we just called it, okay? And then we subtract it and see if it's greater than 3 seconds. So that means the last time went by 3 seconds. The last time we just identified this, it's already been 3 seconds because os.time is constantly counting up, but we set it as a variable so it saves that current time at the given moment. So now it's going to run this script, but then we have to update the last time because the last time needs to be updated. It's going to stay at a low number, and this is going to run multiple times. So how we do this is we do last time equals os.time. So this is going to make it so the last time is now the current time. So this is going to rerun again. If the current time minus the last time is greater than 3 seconds, and you could do maybe 5 seconds, you want it to be 5 seconds, run this every 5 seconds, then you could just change this number right here, but we want 3 seconds. Then set the last time to os.time, change the brick color. And we don't want to yield this, so let's see how this works. Let's see if this is going to work. And as you can see, the base plate is changing every 3 seconds. The same exact thing. Every 3 seconds, and it's printing I have big brain multiple times. That's what we want. The brick color is changing every 3 seconds. So that's good. That's what we wanted in our script. And that's pretty much it. We just wanted to, I wanted to explain what os.time was pretty much. And it's subtracted by the last time. It's a better debounce pretty much. Well, in this scenario. But debounce itself is always better because, you know, os.time, it's subtracting it by the other os.time. That might be like a tiny bit more strain on the system. But in this scenario, it's gonna be good. It's better than using the delay function because we'd want to not yield this part. And we want to use the same while loop so we don't have to make another one. Or another one that says while wait 3 seconds. Because that would be very inefficient if we had 2 while loops just to change the brick color and one to print out this. That would be really bad for the system. So this is way better than using like delay 3. So we don't have to yield this part. It's just a better debounce. Pretty much it doesn't yield the script. This is why os.time minus the last time is better than the current debounce. Because it doesn't yield the thread. The thread's gonna be running multiple times, especially if it's a while loop. This is very efficient, no delay time whatsoever. It checks it every 3 seconds from the os.time, subtracts it by the last time, and if it's greater than 3, set the last time to the current time, change the brick color, and then restart. It's basically restarting over and over. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I think I went overboard with debounce because you guys should know what debounce is. That's why you clicked on this video. You want the better version of debounce. But it's alright. If you guys skipped around, that's all good. Yeah, and I hope this was helpful. os.time is pretty helpful in this scenario to check every 3 seconds. Better debounce whatsoever. Always use it if you're using a thread and you have to use delay for some reason to make the debounce back to normal. Use this instead, okay? But definitely you can always use debounce by itself, but if you don't want to yield your thread, use this. Alright, so that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.